Hey, alright, we are live, and it has been a while. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Hopefully, you'll have me back. Just doing a little bit of housekeeping here before I get too much further. So, yeah, just bear with me. So, I'm going to have my eye on the chat, so as people are jumping in, do feel free to say hello. Cool, I got one person watching. That's cool. Hello. The one person. Um, yeah, just, I apologize, I'm a little slow today. It's been a while, so I'm a little rusty. But, yeah, I got good stuff planned for us, I hope. Yeah, okay, I got one more spot to do a little bit of self-advertising, so bear with me. Let's see, we got some people I gotta tag. Man, live streaming is just, it's a lot of work, you know? Let's see, who else do I need? Probably this guy. Yeah, I'm not obviously gonna show this, but, cause, you know, I'm on my social media telling people to come watch me, you know. Yeah. Anyway. Okay, so as people are filtering in, maybe people are, I'm not sure yet. But, yeah, so today we're gonna do a bit of a showcase and a little bit of code. It's gonna be hopefully fun. Basing things off of hyperapp-dev-tools, which is my Trill on Slack, who has a real name as well, but I'm not sure if I have the proper permissions to just announce it, so you're just gonna have to, yeah, just deal with the MyTrill version. But anyway, so he built a really nifty tool called hyperapp-dev-tools, and it is quite fantastic. It's very similar to Redux DevTools, and yeah, it's pretty neat. So we're gonna look at it, see how it works, and then I'm going to try my hand at TypeScript, which I haven't actually had to code in before, so I don't know if I'm gonna run into any issues. But we're gonna try and implement time travel debugging, which he's already laid the groundwork for me. So it should be a little bit of, you know, here and there, touching up some code, and maybe it'll just work. Although, as we know as developers, the just work trademark almost never works. Okay, I'm just gonna pull up his repository here. So this was originally designed and developed for HyperStart, which is a tool similar to like CodePen, and there's definitely others which don't come to mind right now because I don't use them, but this particular live web environment is geared towards HyperApp and HyperApp development. So it's pretty neat. I don't know if he's got a... we'll go down the bunny trail for a second here just to see. Yeah, cool. All right. Oh, he revamped this a little bit. It looks less bootstrappy. Yeah, let's just see. I'm curious kind of where we're at with that. yeah, let's go to output. Cool. Yeah, so you got some like code, you got a little bit of project management. It's actually, I looked at this once and just kind of skimmed through it, and I didn't realize that this was more like a full project. So that's really cool. So, yeah, if you want to try HyperApp, this is definitely the perfect spot to do it. But I guess I'll dump a link into the live stream here as well. So let's say hyper start. Cool. Yeah. So that's cool. And what we're going to be mostly looking at is the debugger. So this is all integrated into HyperStart. And the debugger just tracks actions and takes some notes, and we get a copy of the state. So that looks pretty good. There's lots of little options here too. Yeah, that's I don't know, it's cool. Ooh, I also like that this is I didn't realize he had multiple debug session handling. Huh. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's really cool. So if I open the debugger a bunch of times. Okay, so I'm sorry, I haven't played around with this tool too much because I've been super busy. But yeah, that's neat. Good job, Mitro. So let's take a peek here. So I forked this into the Learn HyperApp organization that I run. So I'll do a little plug for that too right now. So Learn HyperApp is an organization in GitHub where we can post tutorials, example code, and interesting snippets, which is open to the community. And unfortunately, I haven't had a lot of contribution yet, but I think in the future it's going to be a happening place. So yeah, that's there. So if you're on the Slack channel, we've also got a channel on there. Well, I guess it's Slack. What do you call this? Slack group, Slack community. Yeah, and we have a channel on there. Learn HyperApp. So yeah, swing on by. We're all friendly. I'm pretty sure none of us bite, but I don't know. I can't speak for everyone. All right. So that's nice and boring. So let's get into what's going on here. So the dev tools. So it's got a script that is literally just yarn start, and that uses rollup to do some serving, and then it fires off this web server, which I'm guessing a new tab is going to open up once it's done compiling. Cool. And we've got a few examples here which are pretty neat. So we've got the counter, which is what I had up before. You can open up dev tools and you see all sorts of information about events. So this all looks pretty similar to what was in HyperStart, and it's quite cool. And then there's lots of options here, so we can view the full screen, close it, open it. What else do we got here? Show debugger own state. Oh, that's kind of neat. I didn't realize that we had that opportunity. Oh, and then a shout out to I'm gonna butcher your name, but Whaley, also on the HyperApp Slack server, Slack group. Yeah, anyway, so I believe he did a contribution for getting objects like this, so they're collapsible and all sorts of neat stuff. Oh, hey, we got a bug. Alright, maybe we'll look into that too, because that seems not good. But that's okay, we're not here looking for bugs. Maybe we are. I don't know. We're live streaming. We're having fun, I think. Maybe. Cool. So, let's look around. I know there's some other things here. So let's oh, there we go. Line to bottom. That is much better. That's still a bug, but cool. And then we got a to-do list. So I'm presuming I can just type some junk and press enter. And if we pop open dev-tools and toss it on the bottom, looks like we got all my different pieces there. And a nested state, and this time I'll remember to open up DevTools right away. Oh, I see, it's just rendering. Okay, I thought that this would be a more interactive piece, but we can go back to to-do list. I think this one's going to be the one that we hang out on the most anyway. Let's move that to the bottom, and as we type, we can see input. Gets triggered, and then we press enter, and then we get the add event. So one thing that's kind of neat is grouping repeat actions, because obviously for debugging purposes we mostly don't care about the individual fires to like adding to the input. We just care about the last one, and we probably care that it got triggered 85 times, but we maybe don't care about all the 85 times. And then add, that yeah, this all seems pretty sane to me. If you're familiar with like the Redux dev tools or with like the Elm debugger, all of this I think is pretty straightforward. Cool. Yeah, so let's look at the code. So as I was mentioning before, this is using TypeScript and also rollup. So two things that I don't actually have a pile of experience with, so this will be a fun like little coding challenge for me, I guess, is can I do it? Which I don't even know if I can yet. I hope I can, but we'll find out. Coffee, it does wonders. Okay, so let's maybe peek around the code a little bit. Maybe we'll start with the rollup config. Like just kind of peeking around, and I don't know, sometimes people do some really interesting things with like configuration, and since I use Webpack a lot, I'm quite interested to see what like a rollup config for a library slash, I guess, is this, I guess it's not an app, this is like a, no, it's an app for demo purposes, so, I don't know, I think I'm just rambling, I apologize. What's minmist? We're gonna look that up. Oh, minimist. Alright. Yeah, this is like half of what I do when I look at people's packages. I'm just like, you know, just super interested in tool choices, and I see just an argument parser. Yeah, so I typically use yargs for this, but I like this. This is nice and simple, which I guess the the package name very clearly kind of implies that too. Neat. All right. Oh, I see that you can do some parsing options. All right, and we got some plugins. So we got like use. I'm presuming shiny JavaScript features like Babel, and then also we care about certain extensions. Yeah, okay, I'll go over this more on my free time, because, you know, we can only look at configuration files for so long and still be excited during a live stream. Alright, we got lots of stuff going on here. So I guess we're going to start at index. Now this is an interesting pattern, and I don't know if I like it yet, because I've seen this with a bunch of packages where they have an index, but the index only imports and then exports the things that it imports. Because to me, like, the HOA seems to be like it should be index. I could be wrong though, and like maybe there's a good reason for the pattern. Yeah, I don't know. You can like comment on that, or like if you're here during the live stream, just like be like, hey man, this pattern's good for this reason. I'll totally listen. I'll be there and be square and stuff. I'm so sorry. Yeah, so anyway, let's look at this. So we got a higher order application. So what that means is that we're going to take in the hyperapp app function and extend it and do a little bit of magic. So I'm kind of curious how they're doing it. So they create a brand new element with an ID and append it. And then they return a function that looks like app, which, where is that coming from? Well, there's this, no, where, so I'm just kind of curious where, oh, I see, so this is it. So we have the app type, which extends the hyperapp type. Hyperapp is this. Okay. And it returns an app, which it's kind of self-describing here. Okay, so nothing too crazy. I find TypeScript to be like really verbose, and as a result, it's not like an easily digestible language. I would love to be proven wrong on that, but like I don't know. This I could write this in C, and it would look and read, to me at least, much simpler. Maybe I'm crazy. I could be crazy. Okay, cool. So we have our DevTools app, which I'm guessing these actions, yeah, come from API. Okay, and so we got a collection of actions here, all sorts of things. Although this does do a lot of things, and also let's expand this a little bit, and I can just do that to reflow it. Cool. Okay, so we create. Sorry, I'm kind of digesting this. So this doesn't seem to be necessary here. We're just setting like an ID for the sake of doing that, unless, do we have like styles, like a style sheet somewhere that's maybe dictating that? Okay, so we got like object view, we got some like CSS stuff. Let's check here. So we're not using that. Let's just. Sorry, this is bothering me now. I just need to know. So we're gonna look into hyperapp-dev-tools. Okay, so I think there's a good possibility that nothing cares about this ID. So I'm gonna delete it. I forked things, and I forked things intentionally so I can make some updates here. Yeah, so let's see. Actually, maybe I'll do one more search just in case it doesn't get prefixed. So if I do hyperapp-dev-tools, yeah, I suspect this will get a lot more hits, but I just want to be sure that like there's nothing referencing that ID for like a particular reason. Okay, nothing. Cool. In that case, let's go back to this guy. Also, I'm not sure why Vim has flagged these all as red with asterisks, because I thought it only did that with like when I have links, sorry, Unix soft link. So that's interesting, but that's totally not a problem we have to deal with. Oh, also, what is going on here? This, I gotta like figure out what's going on with this. So we generate a random UID Interesting. Okay. That actually makes me wonder, like, I'm totally like nitpicking on like stupid things and like super stupid things, but like I'm pretty sure you could do something like date.now to string. I don't know, you could probably do it like even like 16, and then if I do that again, I'm gonna get like a different number each time, and by different number I mean like different output. We could even do something like 12. I don't know, because like you can do whatever base you want, I guess. Yeah, you're always gonna get like a unique thing that's kind of repeatable. Anyway, totally, totally getting sidetracked. But yeah, so my best guess here is that every time you load up the dev tools, we get like a new UUID, and that's, I'm guessing, how we're like distinguishing the different times you open up the dev tools. That seems a little inefficient to me, but like, I don't know. Maybe it's not that bad. Also, what's going on with enhance actions? Sorry, we gotta dig through a lot of things just to understand what's going on, because this tool does a lot of cool things, and as a result, there's a lot of code to do those cool things. Okay, so let's see what's going on. So we got enhance. If I could spell, this would be better. Oh, right. Default. Nope. Okay, so something's getting exported. Oh, I'm in the wrong file. That is why. That's why nothing looks correct. Okay, so we're just exporting it twice, once as itself and once as the defaults. That's also interesting. I guess that's to facilitate. Well, would someone actually pull this part in? I don't know. I'm sorry, Mitchell. I don't mean to be judging your code. I'm sure there's lots of decisions that were made here that, like, I have no context of. So I'm sorry if I sound really judgmental. I'm just, just reading stuff, trying to figure things out. All right. Okay. So what does enhance actions do? So we get a. I'm guessing this is every time an action's called, we trigger this. So we log the action, and we care about the run ID, so it gets logged in the appropriate place. And then we have our set of actions coming from the app that we're debugging, and a prefix, which is, what is that? Oh, I see. So it's like if we're namespacing something. I'd be curious, like the use case for that, but I don't know. It could be to accommodate something in hyperstart. So okay, so let's see. I'm just gonna kind of dig through this a little bit more because I just want to make sure I understand what's happening. Okay, so we return a new object. So we reduce over the keys and the actions as a result from the original app. And this is gonna get to me, and I know it's not, again, totally like just me being a dick. var kind of gets to me, because now I don't really understand, like, yeah, I just don't know the scoping and like whether or not something should be constant. Okay, so we reduce, and so other actions I'm guessing is really like the new set of actions that's wrapped, and then we know the name of each action. So we grab the old action, and then we create a new function. Okay, so I did something similar with hyperapp. Well, actually, no, I didn't. So I took a different approach. So hyperapp um, lets you like run an on-update function, and this was actually probably something that kind of bit me a little bit when I was building hyperapp-debug, which was that I want to get updates, but anytime my app, like my debug app, would do an update, it would also get triggered. So I had to have some like complex logic. So here he's gone with another approach, which is pretty neat. So we go through each action, and then if it's a function, so it's not like a scoped slice action, so that means that we can just wrap it immediately. So let's see what's going on. I got kind of so used to reading ES6 like fat arrow functions that sometimes going back to this is like a little painful. But like again, not my troll's fault. This is me just being an old grumpy man who occasionally likes to complain about stuff because he's an old grumpy man. Okay, so first we log it. So well, that's interesting. So we get like a call done here. So that'd be something worth investigating later. So, oh, I see. So this is basically dealing with things that are async, I'm guessing. I'm not sure what. Okay, so that'd be like a question that I have for Mitro later. Is just like determining what's going on there. I guess I could just like kind of look at the actions here. Presuming that the was it log action? There we go. Okay, so we get like an action event. So if it's not done, do some stuff. Yeah, all sorts of like interesting things going on here. Now I'm really curious how this is all wired up. So my original implementation of hyperapp-debug, which was like not related to this project particularly, but it was also like a live debugger. So I did have time travel in there, but I also like had super simple stuff, and I had to kind of code around that because like sometimes a simple solution is good for like one piece of code, but then the other piece of code that also has to use the same data, it's not good for. So I'm kind of curious, like if having like data about whether or not an action's done, um, if that's like helping another piece that I'm just not aware of yet. Anyway, I'm totally yeah, just like really picking this apart. But if I'm gonna extend it, I need to understand it. So cool. We do that, and then otherwise, so if it's not a function, then we basically do some like a nested call to ourself, and with that we run the action in its own namespace. So we end up essentially rebuilding all the actions and all their nesting with a proper wrapper. So this is good. This is actually like pretty simple. Probably what I would recommend. This isn't something that I'm going to do for this live code session, but it would be to move some of these functions out, just so enhance actions is a little easier to read. Because having like a ternary like this, and then the first thing is like 20, yeah. 20? Yeah, 20 lines long. That's a little rough. I'm sorry if I'm bad at math. I haven't had enough coffee today, and it's almost 6 o'clock, and I haven't had enough coffee, so maybe I don't have a good excuse. But anyway, okay, so we know what enhance actions does. And okay, so we got a set state. So I actually asked my Trill about this. He's like, "Hey, yeah, so I saw that that you did this, so I did it too." But this is really cool. So I have a very similar thing, which is essentially we want a way for the debug app to inject a state back to the original app that we're debugging. So when we do time traveling, for instance, when I click on one of these, so my expectation is that the app goes back into this state, and if I degrouped it, then it would go back into all these individual states as well. And that's what this would do. So basically, from the debug side, we have that original state, and then this would say, given that original state, pass it back into the app, and it should just become that state again. So yeah, it's cool. So I was also experimenting with the idea of doing something like don't hurt me yet, but symbol set state. So what's neat about this, if it allows it, and also we'd have something like this is totally not the place to put this either. And I should probably follow the coding rules here. So the really cool thing about symbols is, for the most part, they behave like strings. So this would be something that's like, I don't know, I always relate kind of neat coding features to Ruby, because Ruby has a lot of the cool features that other languages slowly bring in. I'm sure Ruby got inspiration, but Ruby has the idea of having like a symbol like string. So like in Ruby, so we're going on the side. So let's say I had like const thing equals foo, but maybe oh, Ruby doesn't do this. But maybe foo shouldn't really be like introspected on, but it should still behave like a string. So you can, in Ruby, do foo like that, and apparently it takes less memory up and a few other like cool optimized things, which I can't speak to because I don't know all the internals of Ruby. But apparently it's just a more efficient trimmed down string that doesn't do all the fancy things. But anyway, symbol is very similar to that. But what's cool about symbol, and I can't remember if Ruby does this, is let's say I do like, thing is symbol. In this case, we'll do set state. Why not? If I did thing, if I could type thing equals symbol set state, this is false. And so the reason it's false is symbol is almost like an object that's a string. But so objects in JavaScript they're more like pointer references to like object data. I'm sure there's much more technical terms. I don't care about technical terms. I just care about cool concepts. So this guy is like a string, but like if I inspect it and do like console log thing, this would report symbol set state, but it doesn't report it as a string. It reports it as like a data object. So I believe symbol does something similar. So this is actually a reference. So every time I create a new symbol, so I use this like symbol syntax, I'm creating a brand new reference. and there's no way for me to create the exact same reference that I created before. So up here, this is a completely separate reference to this. So when I compare them, JavaScript goes, hey, these aren't the same reference, and says false. And so what's neat about that is I can potentially inject an action name that is guaranteed 100% to never collide. So that's cool. But I'm gonna have to like kind of think that through a little bit, because I don't know if the TypeScript settings would currently allow me to do that. So when I get a set of actions, so I got the app that comes in, and my actions here. Okay, so I guess it's an any. So maybe I can do something like this. However, I'm gonna have to have like more awareness somewhere. So I need to put, basically I need to put the symbol somewhere smart. And enhance actions seems to be maybe be the right spot. It could also be API though. Like they both kind of seem like similar. So API looks like it's we only doing types here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, and we got like app action path. Okay, so I need to think through the glue that's been kind of set up here for me. So okay, I think there's a few pieces that are missing, so I'm gonna like type them out here, and then we're gonna figure out how to actually do them. So for one, we need to be able to interop with the original app. So I guess I don't actually need to write that out. I can just say interop equals that, and then we're going to return our interop. Okay, and I think potentially we need to like specify a type here. So to me, this seems like it's maybe just an any, because that is what our type up here for the actions are, and that's really what interop is giving us. And we need a way to configure dev-tools. So yeah, I just need to kind of think this through still a little bit. So I'm going to move this down here. But maybe log init is the thing that probably needs to take this. So in the perfect world, I'm just going to close this other side here. Okay, so a perfect world, we have something that looks like this. So log init, and we have a run ID, a state, and state is coming from here, so this will be just our initial state that it reports immediately. And we get a timestamp, which is new date, get time, and then we probably also want to set a interop, which is going to be interop. And then, oops, depending on what ES6 features we have, we could potentially just pass it like that. But, so the important thing here is having the interop pushed in means that now DevTools actually has a reference to the app that's currently working on. And when we have that, then we can start pushing a state to it. So let's see. So we got our HyperTools app. So let's look at our actions. Because we need a way to set an action, or sorry, set a state, which presumably is also going to happen. Actually, okay, so sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's go to log init, and that okay. So we're going to go on a bit of a bunny trail. So let's go into API, and we need to find init event. Okay, so we get some stuff. Well, it turns out we also need interop, any. And this is basically, like I said, a reference to the wired actions of the app we're debugging. And also, so I guess as an interesting note, so hyperapp-2 is doing actions differently. And as a result, a thing like this may not work. So I'm really, really interested to see how things go. So I've had some discussions with George, and for those of you who don't know, George is the author and creator of HyperApp, and super smart guy. I recommend saying hi to him over on the HyperApp Slack. He's super friendly, and yeah, just say hi. Anyway, so I've had some discussions, and we have some ideas about how this would work. Now, how would it work in this situation? I'm not sure yet. We discussed this like a few weeks ago, and then I was sick and went on a trip and did a whole bunch of things in the last few weeks, so I don't remember most of that conversation. But there's a very interesting GitHub issues thread that, yeah, people should check out, and you could have an opinion on, I guess. George is very interested in everyone's opinions about kind of the future flow of HyperApp, and I completely get it because HyperApp is super cool. Yeah. All right. Sorry, I'm so distracted. Just like, yeah. Okay, so let me just digest what's going on here with, if I go up to the right thing again. All right, so we got log init, which now can take that interop that we want to take, and so we build a new action. Oh, I see. So this is basically pushing in the initial state action. Okay, that's cool. And what we want to do here as well is have a reference to our interop, which will be event.interop. Cool. So that was like, I was expecting that to be a little bit more effort. Oh shit. Interrupt does not exist on run. Uh-huh. So like, I don't disagree. Okay, so, okay, yeah, that makes sense. So we need to pass things along here. Okay, so we save that, go back over here, now we're fine. Okay, thanks TypeScript. So let's see. So there's another event that we want to hook onto. So when we're in the debugger, we can click on these events, and that itself is an event. And as a result, we could maybe set up a time travel debugger with that. So I'm guessing that's maybe select, but I need to understand more about what's coming in these these actions. So let's jump over here to selected action. So I know my run string, and I know my path, which is an array of numbers. Okay, so that's interesting. So I don't know what that means at all. But let's see. Let's find an example. Okay, so we got like state runs. Oh, that's really clever. So state runs, I'm guessing, is an array potentially. Is it an array? You know what? I can like look these things up. We have TypeScript. So let's see. We're gonna have the whole thing, and then we got like our runs somewhere. There we go. There's our state. So runs is of type runs, which is each run has an ID. Okay, so that's interesting. So for run, I guess it's an object and then each ID. I'm not like super familiar with how TypeScript is set up. Like, I guess for one thing, like, these things don't have commas, but these guys do. Is that meaningful? Doesn't look like it. Okay, so I added commas, so that's me. Apparently TypeScript was okay with it. Uh, yeah. Okay, so I guess what we can do here. So this is potentially us selecting something. Is there a way for us to double check? Alright, so we got a view. This might be, well, not as scary as I thought, but okay, so we want our debug pane. And inside that, I'm guessing debug pane content. Okay, then we got our runs pane and our object details. So I'm guessing we want runs pane. Okay, and then that loops through a set of items. Oh, what's going on here? Okay, so runs for each is items, unshift, which puts it in the front. Okay, so just for my own sanity's sake, so let's I'm gonna rewrite this a little. I know this is again just me being a dick. So I'm sorry. But what? Okay, so we're gonna turn this into a map because that's exactly what we're doing. And it looks like we get a run, an I, and it looks like we do support fat arrows in TypeScript, which I wasn't sure about, so okay, let's comment this guy out. And I'm so sorry, I don't know why I'm being a dick. I shouldn't be. But I like to just understand things, and sometimes that involves me rewriting it in a way that makes more sense to me. And I'm gonna like multi-line that, mostly for my own screen real estate. This is not an important thing. Okay, so basically this is saying that our current is always our last ID. Okay. And since we're unshifting, I guess that means at the end we do a dot reverse, which because we did a map, we get a brand new array anyway. So I think that we end up with the same thing. Now I'm curious, so I guess that doesn't, I reload fresh, that's fine. Okay, so let's just toss this on the bottom. Okay, so all that looks fine, and if I didn't put a reverse in there, I just want to double check that I'm not looking at the wrong thing. Okay, so let's open up DevTools again at the bottom, just so we can conserve a little bit of real estate. Test. Again, maybe I'm looking at the wrong thing, so let's undo that. Okay, so I thought closing this started a new session, but I guess it doesn't. Also, this apparently doesn't do what I think it does, so I'm going to undo it just because I don't like changing code that I can't verify, or not sure how to verify that I did the right thing. So anyway, let's do runs pane item. Then we get an item list, which is, okay, so that's our li, and we key it based on a timestamp. Oh, right, and that's the like ID. So that's interesting too, because we have a run ID, so I'm not sure what the difference is there. Excuse me. Still got a little bit of the coughs and nose sniffles, so I apologize. But okay, so we have run action item list. I think we're getting there. We're getting there. Run action item list, which is a run action item. We're getting there. We're getting there. Cool. Okay, so we have an action item link, which when we do an on click, we do actions.select. Okay, so that was the whole thing that I cared about. I want to verify that this was actually what I thought it was, which is you select a state and stuff happens. Cool. So now that we're there, and we know that we get data about the current run, so I'm going to grab that. And we don't care about updating any runs, so I think we can do something as simple as maybe this. And this will be selected action dot, is it run ID? Man, I need like 3 monitors, or I need this monitor to be much higher resolution than what it actually is. Okay, and that's, so we're in actions there. So what I want is, oh, API. Okay, and we get a selected action, which has a run string, which is our key. So I think if we do this, and this is, oh yeah, so this is state, we just need to actually do that. Cool, so now we have our run, and what we want to do here is, so let's do ideal world, so this will not at all reflect reality, but I think we'll do something like run.interop dot, I guess this will be like our magic set state symbol, and then this is going to be, we'll need a way to like up here be app state, I don't know what to call that, but it'll be like an any, and we're gonna get something something like select state dot run dot actions. That's what does a run look like? Okay, so we got like a set of actions, which is an app action, and app action has a set of what? So like that seems wrong, but I'm willing. Oh, I see. So this is a singular action, and then we need, I'm guessing, next state. Is there a current state? Okay, let's oh. Okay. Okay, so there's stuff. Okay. So I think this is intentionally nested, and I need to like understand the, like, how do I get it? Oh. Well, isn't that just convenient? We can get the path. What does get path do? Okay, so that's in selectors, so we're gonna need more screen real estate. Okay, we want get path, so I want to understand what, oh, get selected action, where we get a state with a no. And we have like a get path where we give it a run and the path. But I don't want to I don't want to mutate. I literally just want to do a get. Like, how do I get the state data? It's like, obviously it exists, but I don't quite understand how to read it. So we have like a log action. So maybe we'll do this in reverse. So when we log an action, we append that action. So we take an action, then we pop it from the previous, and if that is done, but we're not done. Okay, so there's some complexity in here that I don't understand yet. But there's stuff going on. So let's see. Maybe there's like another method or another example somewhere that we can kind of rip off. So we got log action. So I guess path.push stake. Yeah, there's a lot going on here. So like, that's not a bad thing, but it's a thing. All right, so really what we want is like historic state equals like get state at I know at now isn't right, but like get state at from history, but we don't have anything that's like called history, so that's probably wrong. But it'd be something like run and then guessing selected action. Maybe this, yeah, selected action dot path. I guess I could like, using the power of programming, we could just do a select and selected action and also run. I want to know what both those are. And I like to pull these out when I'm debugging more than one thing into an object, just so then it's easier for me to like inspect both cases. Cool, so I'm going to refresh this and open up DevTools and do my own thing here. Alright, so every time I click, I get stuff. So selected action, we've got like some data there. And path is an array of 1, which is 0. And we have actions 0, which has actions of 0. Okay, and if I do like a test, enter. Alright, so let's just clear these. So if I click on initial state, we don't know what that looks like. When I click on that, this is what I'm quite interested in. So we got a path, which is only 4. Okay, and our run has 6 actions, and we are on the 4th one. So second from the end here, which is done. It doesn't have any sub actions. I'm really curious what a sub action is, but at the same time I don't want to be because that sounds complicated. Okay, and so I'm guessing this is displaying the next state, and that's the thing that we're interested in. Cool. Alright, so we learned some stuff, and so I'm going to do a really hacky version to make this work, and then maybe, just maybe, yeah, maybe it'll just work. Okay, so there's a thing that we need to do, and I think I think API is the place to put this. I don't think it actually is, but I think we want export const injected set state equals symbol set state. Okay, so basically we're exposing a symbol that through our dev app we can reference, and it's also guaranteed to be unique from the app that we're debugging, so we know we're not going to have any collision. And okay, so we're getting places. So we know that the action ID that we want is going to be selected action dot path 0, which is like the top ID. Now there's probably a way that I'm supposed to reduce over this, and I don't know if I feel good about that yet, because I want to understand what I'm actually reducing over before I start doing that. So this is the hack, but I know it's not completely correct. But once I make a PR and discuss it with Mitro, we can probably come up with a what does this actually look like, or if there's a helper method, which I'm sure that there is. And I'm dumb and I don't know the code that well. So, okay, so we've got an action ID and we've got a run. So we could do our next state equals run dot actions action ID. And I got in the habit with my last work project of putting semicolons everywhere, but I can tell that Mitro does not have that habit, so I'm really trying to prevent myself from putting that everywhere. Alright, and now we want this magic. So interop, so we know we have interop, and we haven't injected this method yet, but we want injected set state, and then we're going to just pass it next state. Okay, so, and then we can just do API dot. Okay, so that made life easier there. And now we're going to go over to HOA. And we're going to update this a little. Do we have... No, I did not, but we can. So in this case, we only care about injected set state from API. And I also got in the habit of single quote strings, and I gotta stop doing that too. Cool. And this will be injected set state. And then we wire things up. Cool, so we enhance the previous actions, so now we have a hook on them. And then after we do that, we add in our injected set state, pull out our interop, pass that through, which we weren't doing, and TypeScript saw that. So that's cool. So I'm not actually a TypeScript guy or a Flow guy, I'm just like a JavaScript guy. And I know I need to actually do a little better than that, and I had hesitations about TypeScript. This is actually, it's working really well. So, we didn't need that. So, I might give it a shot in my next project. We'll see what happens. Cool. So, now we've got that, and now when we click on things, maybe it does the right thing. So, that would be cool. Now, it's going to do all sorts of trashy stuff now, and like, none of these states are going to line up, so that's going to be like another thing that we need to deal with, which is histories. I don't know how to deal with that yet, but let's refresh this. And I'm going to have this still open, but just much smaller. And toss this on the bottom. And now we're going to try test as a string. Let's ungroup it. If I click on that, dun dun dun, injected state. It's not a function. Okay. So run.interop. Okay, so we're going to do a console log interop here. So I need to be sure that it's actually getting wired in, because it doesn't seem to be, you know, because I have a console log in there. And if that's not happening, that's a problem. Oh. Okay, so we got add, input, remove, and we don't have the symbol. And I don't know if that's a bug. I don't know where that bug is, right? Because this is definitely a thing, right? But okay, so let's rule out hyperapp, which it possibly is, by just going here to our API, and at the very bottom, let's change that from a symbol to something else. So let's do, I think it was previously set state, something like this. Doesn't really matter at this point, but obviously we want it to be like a unique stringable thing. Okay, so go back here, refresh. Okay, hey George, I found a bug. Apparently a symbol cannot be a state, or a state key. But anyway, totally an aside. But remind me to report that. If anyone's watching, just like tag me in some sort of social media and be like, hey man, report that bug, because I'm gonna forget. It's gonna be gone in like a minute. Alright, so let's ungroup these and do our test. So obviously each letter happened individually, so now if I click here, oh my god, would you look at that. But now if I do like that, so we went from this state and we skipped some and just injected a new state, so that's not right, and we're gonna have to figure out what to do about that. Okay, so let's talk about what we did, and I'm gonna call it the end of the stream here. But yeah, talk about what we did, what's gonna be better in the future, and go from there. Okay, so obviously we read through a lot of this code, and we kind of picked apart some pieces. It's like, hey, maybe this isn't, you know, the best, or maybe we don't need that ID, which I just deleted and was like, yeah, that's the right thing to do. Totally not. Hey, we discovered a bug. So apparently you cannot key an action with a non-string. Not sure if that's really a bug. I think it should be though, but like that's really up to George. Like maybe action keys need to be a string, just for like detectability reasons, right? Because right now, especially with the slice behavior, you either have an object key or a function, but does it actually change anything with the keying? So that's like the value of the key, like that changes. So that might be something that we just need to like look in the source code of hyperapp. That might be like, it could be a bug. It could be. What else did we do? So yeah, we played around with TypeScript a little and got interop to be a valid thing to initialize a log with, as well as allowing that to trigger this. So now our log init knows about the app that we're mounting and is able to inject a state. So that was really cool. There's two approaches that we can do. So I'm gonna log these here for like future Alex to deal with. But basically, although this is like the wrong spot, let's go to the right spot, which I guess is this. I'm not actually convinced that this is the right thing, but essentially what we want is I need to learn how to type. When we select an old action, does this disable the app? So I had an issue, and actually there's a discussion. Maybe I'll pull that up. Hyperapp-dev-tools. And let's toss that into this window here. Come on, there we go. Cool. Yeah, so I asked some questions. So basically, can I interact with the app? And yeah, so either we can destroy it and do a new timeline, or we keep both and have different trees. So I think that actually has to do with the nested actions that we have. So when we have a path, which is an array of indexes that relate to actions of actions of actions. So maybe that is why that's in there, and Mitro was just thinking ahead of time. I like this though, where we just replace the timeline. But I completely understand that if we had both, then we have something to compare against. So that's interesting. And in hyperapp-debug, I had a thing where basically it froze the state of the app. So if you try and interact, it just reverts all the changes, which is kind of cool. And so maybe that's an option too. So basically, what's historical is historical, and you can't redo it. Although I did have a thing where you could actually restream that history, which would just kind of do what this does and just destroy all the future events from there, and it just lets you rewrite that history from that point. So maybe there's a lot we can talk about and ways for us to do it. Yeah. So anyway, we got it to work, which I wasn't sure that I would, because I thought TypeScript would be a big thing. Anyway, let's just add a note for myself. I know I wrote this issue and I can easily find it, but sometimes I just look for excuses to be lazy. So I just make as many notes for myself as humanly possible, and try and force myself to do the right thing. Yeah. Anyway, so we got that. We got it working. It wasn't too bad. Yeah, we got interop, injected state, which I'm not happy with it being a string that is potentially a collision, even though we intentionally made it very non-collidable. But anyway. So we got that. What else did we learn? So we dug through a lot of the source code. The API stuff made it pretty easy for me to kind of figure out where things are being passed and how I need to pass them. So that was cool. Yeah, and then we were just kind of peek around at the features. There's a few bugs, but those are not really concerns of the debugger itself, or the time traveler, I should say. So yeah, we did it. Everything works. So let's commit it up. Cool. So we're definitely gonna branch, and I shouldn't use my short forms because that's just a super hipster thing to do. So we are going to do issue 1, time travel. Actually, let's give this a way better name. Back to the Future, because everyone loves a good reference, right? Alright, so he's not using yarn, so I should just maybe remove that. Alright, so let's see, what do we change in the source? So we added interop. Lots of interop references. We added the injected state, which cannot be a symbol apparently. Got rid of that ID. Oh, yeah. What do you know? I did remember the correct correct name that he used. The double underscore set underscore state. Cool. And then, yeah, we just changed the order a little bit about how everything gets mounted, but it all seemed to behave identically. So, that's neat. I don't like how this automatically built stuff in dist. With all sorts of extra characters and so I don't know if that's me or Mitral. I'm guessing it's me and has something to do with like maybe Unix line endings. Yeah, just want to make sure that nothing like too crazy was changed. Cool. So I thought I switched the branch, didn't I? Okay. Oh, I see. So I created the branch but didn't actually check it out. Okay. So we are going to do this and implemented time travel without any good rules. Cool. I'm pretty sure I can I can just, rhyme off a little clip here and there. Marty! Yeah, that's all I got for today. So hopefully that was fun and a little informative, maybe. And sorry that I shit on your code a little bit by trail, but it was all in programmer love. I don't know if I'm a programmer, but I'm a friendly guy. So yeah, it was good. We learned stuff. We did stuff. The world is now a slightly better place. So thanks for joining me, watching me code, and also thanks for no one yelling at me on my hiatus, which I don't think is going to be happening again for a little bit. So I'll be around consistently for the next few weekends, and hopefully have some cool stuff for you. All right, later, guys.